Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to make these Ballerina Slipper 3D style cookies. So stay tuned and I will show you how. Here are the things that I will be using: an edible marker, a round scalloped cookie cutter, a small Ballerina Slipper cookie cutter. I will be using pink food coloring by Wilton. The 6 slits are optional and the pearl dust is also optional, and 1/4 of an inch ribbon. Alright guys, let's get started. Alright guys, so the first thing we're going to do is fill in our bottom base cookie. And I went with one that has a little bit of a design there, but I just suggest using a round circle cookie cutter, because if you try to get each little scallop in there with icing, you'll run a risk of having the icing overflow. Sometimes the icing will kind of merge here really close and you'll end up losing the design. If you want to use this scallop cookie, I do suggest maybe doing a thicker icing and doing the outline so you can get this little scallop design and then flooding it in. Another thing, normally when I do 3D cookies like this, I make like an extra piece of cookie and then attach it on here with some thick icing, and then that will help give this cookie some support. But I forgot that normally when I do cookies like this, I usually have like grass or some other type of maybe some candy or something on the front or on the sides or something like this to help support the cookie. And then I don't really get that other piece on the back because I have a lot of support around it. And I forgot that this here is just going to be completely flat and really nothing in front of it. So I'm going to need some support in the back, which I don't have. So I decided to use these six slits, and they normally come in 2 sizes, which is the larger ones and the really tiny ones. So I went with these larger ones, and I'm going to use that for support in the back. So I haven't tried this. Is the first time I'm trying these, so I don't even know if that's going to work, but I think it will. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ice this bottom one, stick one in there to harden in there and dry up in with this icing. And then with some thicker icing, I'm just going to stack probably 2 more on top of this one and hope that that will give this cookie some support in the back here. So I'm going to try that. If you do these at home, I do just suggest making little pieces of cookies and then just maybe like a triangle shape almost, and then have it support here in the back, sort of like a picture frame that you would have, like a 4x6 picture frame that you would put on a coffee table or something, to help support that in the back, since you won't have anything in the front to support it or anything around it. So let's move on. I just thought I'd let you know that in case you're wondering why I have these little candies here. So I have my pink and tip 2, and you can use any other color. And here I have the white in a number 1 tip. So let's go ahead and fill this in. I'm going to kind of do that little design, the little scallop design like this, but I guarantee it's just going to fade away after a bit. But I'm going to do it anyways, just to keep that design going, but it'll eventually lose it, I'm sure. And I can't make this icing too thick so it won't, roll to the side, but I need to flood in, pipe in that white in there, and I can't have this too thick or else it won't sink in. I can just spread that out. I'm going to try to push these out, just like I said, to keep that design. I was trying to keep this kind of on the cute side and have this little scallop design on this cookie, but I'm going to leave it like that. I don't want to push it anymore because it's actually staying. So now I'm just going to randomly put some dots. I'm going to do some big ones and some little ones. Again, you can use any other type of design or none at all. So now I'm going to do some little ones, and that's just by squeezing a tiny bit to that, just put a tiny bit of pressure on your bag and you'll get really small dots. Okay, so I'm going to, of course, let this dry probably maybe 2 hours or so. I know that seems like a lot. Oh, almost forgot. Let me put this here. It's going to be going in the center here, but just a tad bit to the back. So I'm going to spin this to the side here so you can see that it's not in the center, but just behind it, because we're going to put this here in the front, right in the center of that. I forgot what I was saying, but anyways, I'm gonna, oh yeah, that I was gonna let this dry for about, I'm thinking about 2 or 3 hours. I know it's a small space, but I need this to be very, very dry, so when I set my cookie on top, I don't crunch my icing. So I rather be on the safe side and give this plenty of time to dry. But for meanwhile, we're going to move on to the next step, and that's the slippers. Alright guys, so now moving on to the ballerina slipper. I have here an edible marker, and I'm just going to draw the slipper and kind of eyeball it. Let's bring it down and then bring it back out like that. And we gotta remember that it is missing a little piece here, so you kind of gotta visualize how that would look. And then we're gonna do one like this. Here I did, as you see, this design here, and I think it's a little too thick, so what I'm gonna do is just I'm gonna do a line like this and another line like this, and when I do the icing, it's just going to become thick, so you don't have to do that right there. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back with my pink, same tip, number 2, and I'm just going to start off with my line here at the top so I could start drying. I'm just gonna go once and then twice right next to it, to make it a little bit thicker. I'm gonna leave this line here last because I gotta give the shoe and that one line at the top some time to crust before I do that second one. And then here I'm just going to bring it down and then fill in the shoe, and that's pretty much it. Try not to bring this too close to the bottom because you want to have this free here. You don't want to have icing at the edge because you need this bottom part to be flat. And that's it. So just give this some time to crust, just about 5 minutes or so, and then you can go ahead and do this part here. So I'm gonna wait. Alright guys, so I gave this some time to dry. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and do the line across here, and I'm gonna go again right next to it just to make it a little bit thicker. And again, I'm gonna give this some time to dry. Now I will give this complete slipper about a couple hours, again just like the base, because I will be handling it and I do not want to crush that icing. So I'll be back. Guys, so now 2 things. Now I let this dry so they're nice and dry and can be handled. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some shimmer dust to the base so that could be nice and glittery. And I'm not going to do that to the shoe. I'm going to leave that matte. And then I'm going to grab some thicker roll icing. This is what I need as my glue to hold all of this together. I'm going to put some on the back of it, not too much, and then attach it to my little slipper. And I want to do this before I put everything together. So I'm going to have that like that and then set this aside. So now what I'm going to do, and by the way, that was 1/4 of an inch, and you can use the color, any color that you are using. Go ahead and match that with your ribbon. So as you see here, this has dried very well in my cookie. So I'm going to be using, I have here a tip number 3, and I'm going to be using this, like I said, as my glue. And I'm going to put about 3 of these little balls together. So I'm going to stack 2 on top of that one that's already at the bottom. And I'm going to let this dry. Again, I had to come up with something to support this slipper, so this is what I came up with. It'll want to slouch a little bit, kind of go to the side a little bit, so just keep an eye on it. But give this about an hour to dry, and it will firm up and hold the shape up straight like that. And I'm going to move on to one that's already been drying. And what you're going to do is grab the back of the slipper right in the center here, add some of this icing, and at the bottom, but just at the back of it, not at the front, just where you see that brown right there, just like that, just a little bit. And we're gonna add tons more of this icing later on. And then just add that, attach that to the balls on the back like that. Okay, so that should hold. So as you see, once I let go, it is standing straight, and I shouldn't have any icing sticking up on the front. So now what I'm gonna do is add one more bead just for extra measure in the back, and attach some of this icing there. That way it can be a little bit taller. Okay, so that fourth one should help support it just a little bit more. And again, I'm going to add some more icing, and I'm just going to put some on the side just to make sure that when this dries, it has nowhere to go. It is going to stick there like cement. So I'm going to just let it dry and then put them all together, because that's pretty much it. Alright guys, that is it for these cookies. What do you think? They're cute, right? I think these are so adorable. I love this idea. And I'm going to just kind of pick them up. These have had a few hours to dry, so they're not going to go anywhere. Again, if you want to go ahead and make just a little piece of cookie and attach it just like I did here, that'll work. Or you can do this as well, really easy. These do come in different colors. I'm out of the pink ones in the larger size, so I ended up using the white ones. But they do come in multiple colors, so if you want to do these in different colors, you can go ahead and find these to match the color that you're going to be using. And that is it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I thank you so much for watching. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't done so. And I will talk to you soon. Thanks so much for watching, guys. And stay tuned for more. Have a good one, guys.